administrators too. And to this end, I did educational research, and I sent out 207 strategies, and all of them can be found, the whole 270 can be found on the Falco website. HTTP, no www, because it's a subdomain of the Falco website, studentswholearn.falco.org. It's all up there. And I sent it out. I wanted to have 50 experts from all over the world. So anytime I go to a conference, I go up to the lead speakers, and I'd introduce myself, and I would say, would you participate in my study? I got about 47. Some of them are PhDs, a lot of them are special needs teachers, some are regular teachers. I tried to enlist students who were LD learners, and the only one I could coerce was my own daughter. But and some were parents. So those are my experts, and after I sent out the 207, I asked them to come back to me with their top 100. I then, this is over a period of 2 years of doing this, and I then collated the results, and I also, of course, invited them to add anything that they felt was not on the original list. And then I said at the end, please come back to me with your top 20. I said teachers and administrators, or teachers especially, are very busy people. They work many uncompensated hours, and they don't have time to take in a lot of information. So if we can get them to read one sheet, and usually if I have the opportunity, I laminate it, because you're less inclined to throw out something that's laminated, and also a different color. So it's just a handy hint. And what you can do with this personally is after your family has completed your study style inventory and learning passport, you can then go through this list with your students and have them indicate, if they're old enough and it's appropriate, what accommodations they feel would benefit them if they went to in their schoolwork. And then also with your next parent-teachers conference, you can take that to the meeting and you can say, well, really, our son is a visual learner, and da-da-da-da would be very helpful. You don't have to say, do all of this for my kid, but point out the ones that would be effective, you feel. Okay, there's a whole chapter in the book and a whole chapter on the website about parent-teacher partnerships, which are terribly important, and it gives hints for teachers as well as for parents, and you might find that of interest. I was, if we had time, but we really don't, I was going to go through all of the points on the sheet, but unfortunately we don't. So please take the time to read through it yourself.
Is the book on sale somewhere? I missed the beginning. So is the book on sale?
Yes, yes.
No, I mean like on Amazon or something? On the Falco website or on Amazon? Where can somebody buy that book?
Right here now. These are, I've already sold some, and these are the only ones I have left.
Yeah.
I will say that the majority of the information is available for free, thanks to Falco and its outreach not only into its member clubs, but also into its host country communities and into the rest of the world, in one of the ways in which they fulfill their mission to bring peace to the world. So it's there. You don't have to buy the book. However, the book is a year down the line. It has more information and the most up-to-date research as of the end of January 2012, but it wasn't. And I kept writing it because things are happening so quickly in the field. And I said, no, I've got to let it go because I'll never stop and it'll never get printed, especially in time to be here.
Susan, but are you selling that though? I mean, beyond the conference, are you selling that somewhere?
Yes,
can-
it will be
I'm
on-
asking because I'm referring friends to buy it, so where can
I,
they buy
I self-published, but the person, the printing house that produced it, will have it on Amazon, but
Okay.
only in the States,
Yeah,
which
that's fine.
is, I mean, that's not so good for us. And I'm going in and discussing the possibility, that the organization that did that, they are, hooked up with the International Print on Demand
Yeah.
publishers. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
So if somebody in Australia wants one copy, they'll send it to an Australian printer, they'll print that one copy, so that the shipping of these things is phenomenal. Yes, that's a possibility. But again, I went to print because I wanted to hand it to somebody. I myself want to have a book, I want to write in the margins, I want to be able to go back to it.
Across borders and continents, it could be convenient to have people to avoid the shipping.
That's true, that's true. And indeed, I will look into that possibility. Okay, so this is the project on support for teachers worldwide. It has been translated, this final project sheet, into 26 different languages. And how can you implement this research? You can have your own family do a learning passport, like I just mentioned, take it to the teacher, and you can take it or mail it to the Department or Ministry of Education of the host country in which you reside. I personally have gone to Washington, D.C. and made an appointment at the U.S. Department of Education and handed it to somebody in their special needs department. So they can't say, oh, Americans are trying to tell everybody else what to do. I first tried to tell America what to do. Now, it didn't have a big impact, but I figure any drop in the bucket anywhere is a good idea. I even have, up on the website and in the book, a form letter that has been approved by the Falco Board back when I wrote it, that you can use. So all you have to do is fill in the blanks. Of course, you need to get your club board approval before you would do something like that.
I'm sorry, what are you proposing here in this letter?
I'm sorry.
What does this letter propose?
It is how to use this sheet.
But for,
When addressing the Ministry of Education in your country.
Yes, wherever
Oh,
you
okay.
are residing. Okay? You as a Falco member club want to go out into your host country community and make a difference. So, this is it. This is, that it has already been hand-delivered to Dr. Whitney Tata, that's the lady I saw in Washington. So the translations, so far, as I said, there are 26 translations of the sheet. Those are the countries, or the languages into which it has been translated. And if you see a language there that you are fluent in, it doesn't have to necessarily have a Falco club. I'll put up anything and everything to get the information, very simple information out to the basic teachers and administrators. Just contact me at SWL for students who learn at falco.org, and I'd be happy to give you the information. It does not have to be a professional or certified translation. We do put your name and your club at the end, but if you prefer that it isn't, just let us know and we won't. And like I said, it's all available for free up on the Falco website. Let's hear it from Falco. Why would your host country care? Why would anyone not directly involved with the challenges presented by learning differences care? Because it is in their and our financial and personal security reason and interest to do so. It is socially important to everyone. As the American psychologist, Dr. Karl Menninger, tells us, do to children, they will do to society. We legally force children into attending school until they're around 16 years of age. That must often seem like a prison sentence to a child with learning differences that are not recognized or not being met. Rick LeBoy, U.S. Special Needs Educator, tells us that most children would rather misbehave than look stupid in front of their peers. In order to support a system or a society, such as a school, you must get enough positive feedback from it in order to make it worth your while. If those rewards are not forthcoming, and if instead you experience ridicule and failure, for a large part, you will seek other avenues of gratification and/or escape. And this is exactly what a lot of our LD learners do. And later on in life, this behavior can be translated into socially unacceptable behavior or criminal behavior. So we have the swindler, the armed robbery, the robber, the home invasion, and the abuse, both oral as well as physical. And this in turn, of course, can lead to prison. The costs to society are enormous, both in terms of financial consideration as well as the loss of human potential. Let's take a look at cost for a moment. Andrew Sullivan presents the following analysis in a provocative infograph, which was published in 2011. It shows that it costs the state of New Jersey more to lock away a prisoner in Trenton, $44,000, than it does to send somebody to Princeton for a year, which is $37,000. But that's not even the worst part of it. The chart goes on to compare the anatomy of the correction system to that of higher education in the United States, with some disturbing results. Spending soared 127% in prisons between 1987 and 2007. In education, it increased only 21%. States like New Hampshire, Vermont, and New Jersey spent nearly twice as much on incarceration as they do on colleges. And in California alone, spending averages about $48,000 per inmate and only $7,000 per student. All of which disproportionately affects Black America. The number of African Americans in dorms, I have that information for you there. African American in dorm rooms is 270,000, and in prisons is 820,000. And it's not like this is a phenomena around the globe. This is specific to the United States. The United States has 5% of the world's population and 25% of the world's incarcerated population. To put that in the context of higher education, the incarceration rate is higher in the U.S. than in any other country, while our college graduation rate is down to 6th in the world now. And that is the website that this information is taken from. But more to the focus of our workshop today, illiteracy, lack of education, very often leads to prison. Research in the U.S. found that 52% of a sampling of prisoners were dyslexic. These findings have been mirrored in other countries, and indeed the percentage of learning differently prisoners has been shown to be as high as 90% in other studies. A related concern is that prisoners have a higher proportion of learning disabilities than the general population. For example, offenders' learning disabilities are as high as 75% for juvenile offenders, so it's even higher within the juvenile population. Low levels of literacy and high rates of learning disabilities have contributed to high dropout rates. Nationwide, over 70% of all people entering state correctional facilities have not completed high school, with 46% of those having had some sort of high school education and 61% having no high school education at all. Since there is a strong link between low levels of education and high rates of criminal activity, it is logical to assume that high dropout rates will lead to high crime rates. Wally Morgan, a probation officer and one of the originators of the Dispel Project, which was a pilot scheme to identify and assist dyslexic offenders, tells that the most moving moment is when an offender discovers the reason for his difficulties. And this is to quote Wally, "I have seen tough macho men in their 40s, armed robbers, drug users, shoplifters, burst into tears of relief. All my life I've been told that I'm thick, lazy, ignorant, and I've known that I'm not." That's a typical response, he says, and it is the first step in a recovery from that kind of life. Morgan has also screened residents at a drug and alcohol rehabilitation center and found that there was an astonishing 91% were dyslexic. The resulting feeling of inadequacy and rejection is, he feels, the underlying cause of their problems. So, if we could reduce offending, think of the savings that would be taken by reducing the cost of putting somebody into jail and taking that money and putting it into education. And think how these savings wouldn't be just financial. It's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, Learning Without Boundaries, which went on sale for the first time here at this conference. It's based on the information, as I said, that's already available on the FALCO website, but it has been updated. It's a year down the line and contains newer information and has been expanded to include all learners. So a lot of this information is good for any child anywhere in the world. So there it is. And this is a quick look at its table of contents. Learning Differently explores the different types like autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, all of those. Recognition and assessment, how to identify it, some idea what assessment processes are. Freya is my daughter, so that's Freya's story chapter is Freya's story and my story to a large extent. Lack of recognition goes into what happens both to the individual and, as I just showed you, to society when LD problems are not recognized or remediated. Metacognitive thinking skills, you've already done some of that yourself. Chapter on nutrition, tips for what to do at home, at school, tips for college-bound students that have LD problems and what they should do. Parent-teacher partnerships, tips for teachers and administrators, the project I just told you about and you handed out the sheet for, and support group activities and awards, legal rights, and then conclusions and predictions. And we are past time now, so I'm going to just end with one more slide. As we start a new school year, Mr. Smith, I just want you to know that I'm an abstract learner, and I trust that you will conduct yourself accordingly. No excuses, Mr. Smith.
What Susan has accomplished is just a monumental public service. I'm sure there are parents and students everywhere who thank you for your perseverance, your research, and your continuing work. Falco has a photograph.
Thank you. That's grand. I took the post-conference tour, and I did go out in the desert on a camel. This picture really appealed to me. So that's lovely. I want to thank Falco, and I want to thank especially Emily Van Aerten, who was the chair of the website, and she said, well, you should just submit this report to a conference, give it to me and I'll put it up on the website. So if it hadn't been for Emily, it would never have gotten to where it is today. And also for my good roommate, Roberta Zollner, who is my proof person, which being dyslexic, I need a lot of. So thank you so much for your kind attention. If you're interested in the book, I really don't want to bring any of them back with me. They're $20 or 14 euros. So thank you. They give your copyright copy.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
I was a good citizen.
We read it and we're like, oh,
No, it's,
man, I wish we would have. Yeah, we just did.
little one, that's a kid's.
No, we got.
No, you don't have to do anything.
And then there's like a little trust.
Yeah, I think, and if your kid has so many out of 10, this is like
She's got stories in that book of in other international organizations used it because the school feels they can't and they can get away with that because they're private schools.
I believe families who are trying to relocate.